Hello and welcome back to Clownfish TV. It is me, Geeky Sparkles, and we're going to take another look at the Star Wars discussion because it just keeps getting weirder and weirder and crazier. In the media, you would talk about, I hate using the word cope. I don't like, you shouldn't like that. But there's so much coping going on. And it's so funny to me because for all these articles, they're saying about how the audience is review bombing and the audience is terrible people and all this stuff because they don't like the Acolyte. It's just ironic because they all keep complaining about how the audience does these things, but they're spending as much time trying to discredit YouTube and the audience as they're claiming the audience is trying to do to the show on Rotten Tomatoes. And it's just funny to me because it's like pot or kettle. Pick a side because you're basically doing the same thing just on the opposite side. So for all we have to stop this, the division's getting out of hand, you yourselves are creating a lot of it. But it's okay when you do it. So before we get into it any further, please like and subscribe. If you do, I'll give you a woohoo, and we're going to talk about this. So I have been seeing article after article just going off on Star Wars fans for not liking it, or they're like trying to find the silver lining and spin it that they like it even when they don't. And the amount of shilling and the amount of damage control that the media is trying to do for this show is ridiculous. And the thing is, at the end of the day, it's the second least watched show. And even by the time it's over, it might be the least watched show. We don't know yet till all the numbers are through. But at least from the start of it, it was like the least watched, second to last least watched show. Andor was the worst. But Andor was a significantly better show from what people have said and from reviews. And they just keeps trying to paint it as this win. Then you have Leslie Headland out there being like, oh, the villain, we weren't hiding the villain because a good story doesn't hide the villain. The good story puts it right in the open. Yes, but a good story is creative and clever in the way they hide it so that you can go back and find all the different evidence that's there, but you don't really see it coming. This one was pretty obvious from the beginning. I mean, people knew right away that he was going to be the guy. It wasn't, I mean, that doesn't make it a good story. If you make it obvious, that just makes it boring. I mean, you can make it too buried and too convoluted, and that makes it confusing, and that's frustrating to audiences. But also just like handing it to them and making it so obvious that it's ridiculous is not, the way to go either. But I digress. So we're going to start off looking at some of these articles. It's anti-help. It's just creating more division. It's just causing more trouble. It's just websites trying to cash in on the drama for clicks. They can't call me a grifter because they're doing it as well. I'm just calling out their bullshit and double standards. You're a misogynist, racist, sexist if you don't like the show. But meanwhile, these articles demonstrate the same types of things because they're assuming everyone who doesn't like it is a certain type of person. And that makes you a sexist, misogynist, racist, homophobe too. Because you don't appreciate or respect the opinions of people who identify in ways that are not white, straight, and male who disagree with you. You just step over them and marginalize them twice. So anyway, anti-woke Star Wars from Forbes. Fans are being weird about the Acolyte. And this was just yesterday. I mean, how many times did they have articles? And how many Forbes articles are they doing on this thing? They're like, the powerful Sith, a powerful Sith. Wait, I thought the Sith were gone for, a long time. They haven't seen one for, 1,000 years. Oh, it's not a Sith, but now it's a Sith? A compelling mystery. No, Headland said she made it pretty obvious on purpose. A thrilling lightsaber battle. And the Acolyte is proving to be one of the strongest stories in the Disney Star Wars era. No. General audiences aren't watching it. It's not just the haters. The anti-woke fans are extremely weird about the show. Not unlike the person who wrote this article who's really obsessed with the fans who don't like it. But it's okay when they do it, right? So they're going on about the battle of the lightsabers and all this crap. And they're talking about the story. They go on and on and on about, doing a review of what happened in the last episode. Many Star Wars fans are loving this series so far. Doesn't seem like it to me. And by the viewership, you can say, well, they're review bombing it, but the viewership isn't very good either. So no, many Star Wars fans aren't watching it. That's the problem. But the fan base, a segment, like, because somehow you're the vocal minority, yet you're ruining the entire thing by single-handedly at the same time. Somehow you are, have all the power and none all at once, are being overly critical, nitpicking minor details, and review bombing the show. So this whole thing is just crafted to get clicks. They're just going about Star Wars fans have been angry about Star Wars since the prequel trilogy. Well, that's not untrue. The current split in the fandom is even more petty than usual. And then, of course, they're putting in people, who have opinions they don't like. They're just, all they're doing is giving them, people, an audience, people are going to go watch to see what they said. Really not smart there. They said some criticisms have been proved absurd. The war of Wikipedia. And they're going to Wikipedia. So this is the Kelly Marie Tran all over again. It's like, even if you have an argument that's a valid argument, like, the Jedi aren't special anymore, you're killing them off like nothing, your villain was too overt, and you have good, the writing's poor, the acting's not the greatest, whatever. You have actual criticisms that have nothing to do with diversity and inclusion. Actually, you don't hear hardly anybody talking about race or diversity, other than the fact that they had the quote unquote the space lesbians. No one's mentioning that. Like, it's not a topic that's being brought up very often other than that. And they're like, with death threats to Wikipedia. So we're going to paint everyone again with the whole death threats narrative. Now, do I think that they got threatened? I am 100% sure they did. You should see the shit we get sometimes. I have zero doubt they got threatened or probably told to kill themselves. They probably weren't told them to kill you. They probably told they would kill themselves or something like that. But they do this. They'll call people's places of employment and try to get them fired over not agreeing with them about a movie or a cartoon. It's insane. And I completely believe that happened. But do I think it's in the numbers that they're trying to spin it as? No. So what they're trying to use is a couple of people behave badly. And you know what? To be fair, sometimes I think it's their own people doing it to themselves. So I'm not saying that the person in Wikipedia did it, but like people that are pro Disney Star Wars, well, I'll get them. I'm going to send death threats. So they blame them for it and say I'm them. We've gotten people coming at us trying to be like caricatures of what they think our audience would be. And it's clearly like, hey, they're fellow kids and not really somebody who thinks that way, trying to get us mad at other people. So there's some people who do that too, just to cause controversy, to either boost the discussion or to try to say, oh, you can't listen to any of these people because they're bad people. And that's the whole point. They're trying to paint anybody who doesn't like the show as a terrible person, even if you never review bombed it. Like, I never gave the Acolyte a review. I didn't review bomb it. I only talk about the media's reaction to the show, not the show itself. But somehow I'm still part of the problem, even though I had nothing to do with it. And the thing, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, you're going to take one instance, and you're going to try to use it as a reason to vilify and dismiss everyone else's opinion because it doesn't agree with you. And that's getting old. It's getting tiresome. And the majority of people had nothing to do with that. But a lot of people disagree with the fact that they shouldn't, they do agree with the fact they shouldn't be changing the Wikipedia things because they are retconning some aspects of it. And that's what they're doing. I'm sorry, they did. It doesn't deserve death threats, but doesn't change the fact that they did make changes. You're talking about that, of course, because, it's going to be the same talking points over and over and over again. If you don't know who Ki-Adi-Mundi is, you're not alone. The Jedi in the back was a background character with a handful of lines. The character appears in the Acolyte a century before his introduction to the Phantom Menace, and the date of his birth was changed to reflect the cameo. Which, translation, the date of his birth was changed because you retconned it. And that was the argument. But then you just basically admitted it. It was retconned. They changed the date to reflect the cameo because you retconned the date. That was a change. It was a retcon. So yes, they're correct. The reaction to it is a little bit over the top, especially if they're setting death threats. But it does not change the fact that it was in fact true. It was retconned. Following the edit, Wikipedia editors were startled by the viciousness of the backlash, with some reportedly receiving death threats. Wikipedia, I want to point out, blocks people all the time. If you don't like what they say, if you question them in any way, if you're like, why are you adding pronouns to characters? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? They block you. And then they tell you that they don't need your negativity in their community. All right? Which I guess because they own it, they're allowed to say that and do that. But they also just can take no dissent. Like if you have a different opinion, they block you. If you comment and say you disagree, They block you. That's what they've been doing. So, pot or kettle, once again, except there's a lot more proof. Wikipedia does that than there is about people supposedly giving death threats. The absurdity of this controversy inspired memes, blah, blah, blah. Of course, they're going to make fun of people. The cone-headed character managed to spark controversy again, being Jedi being extinct. Yes, because that's what they said, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, this whole article is about the same thing. This happened like days ago. This isn't even recent. This article is yesterday over something that happened quite a while ago. Some of the criticisms from anti-woke influencers were openly hostile and clearly made in bad faith because, this person says so. They're like, May cutting her hair with lightsaber was criticized as a woke plot twist. I don't know. I don't watch the episodes. I just call out the media doing exactly what they're doing here. Oh, yeah, because of Samurai Knight cutting their hair. We're talking about Padawans being too skilled, which is a common Star Wars trope. No, they weren't overly skilled until, well, maybe for the prequels, but like for the originals, you didn't get like the whole Mary Sue stuff so much. I mean, Anakin was a little bit, but he was also a kid and he'd been racing. That's what he did. He raced. So of course he knew how to fly. So it made sense. He might have got accidentally locked in a ship and blew something up. It made sense. Rey never left the planet, yet somehow she knows how to fly the Falcon better than Han, knows how to fix it better than Han, never has used a lightsaber and trained the Force in any way, yet can stop a Dark Jedi's, Sith Jedi's mind control after years of training with no effort whatsoever. That's the difference, okay? That's the difference. The barrage of bad faith critiques implies that some Star Wars fans would probably hate the original trilogy if it was released today. They always go with this too. If people hated Jedi when it was out. If you saw it now, you'd hate it because of the same retcons and mistakes and awkward dialogue. They just cannot stand it. There's been much to criticize about Disney's handling of Star Wars, excessive use of nostalgia, meandering storylines, and too many spin-offs. But the Acolyte is an attempt to tell a new story. I like the idea that we can tell some new stories within Star Wars. I have no problem with that. Like, I like Rogue One. I like Andor. What I've seen of it. I have to see the rest. I just ran out of time. I kind of got a little bored, but I hear it got really good. But what I saw wasn't bad. People don't have a problem with that. Mandalorian was something completely different, too. I brought Luke into it, but I think to try to redeem themselves. You can tell different stories, and you can find ways to do a good job of it. Thing is, you're not doing a good job. That's the problem. It has nothing to do with the stuff you're complaining about. So anyway, they go on. It goes, oh my God, it just goes on and on and on and on. So then we have this one. Star Wars fans backtrack as they praise Disney Plus for the Acolyte's latest episode after worst ever claims. And what are they talking about? The lightsaber battle. The lightsaber battle that they keep saying was the coolest, the headbutting of lightsaber was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And this is the best battle ever in all of Star Wars. And it's a few people saying it. And when you go to the comments, that's not what people are agreeing on. They're here, ripping giant holes in the world lore is so cool. I'm starting to see where haters are coming from. And of course, this person asks every time, like, you better explain yourself. No one has to explain anything, This is ridiculous and makes no sense. Unfortunately, the existence of this is yet another thing that kind of makes the future stuff worse now. Why wasn't everyone using this, material then? I guess this stuff, it was in Legends. And they said, why weren't they using it then? Crazy, this armor existed so long ago, but no one in the entire galaxy ever used it. When your lightsaber is ordered from Temu. It's not cool to rip the lore apart for cheap things like this. And they go on. This is the coolest thing you've ever seen. You must have just woken up out of a coma and never seen TV before. How come Vader's helmet isn't made out of this? You people need higher standards. And it goes on and on. It's not the win. Like, they're trying to be like, oh, everybody's loving this. But they're not. You're full of shit. I don't understand why you're trying so hard to, for as much as you're saying about Star Wars fans are trying hard to review bomb and dismiss the Acolyte, you're doing the exact same thing. You're trying to show for the Acolyte, and you're trying to dismiss fans really, really hard. Why? Why is it okay why isn't this not okay? This is not, supposedly not okay. This is not all just review bombing. And of course, the critical score is also going down. And this went up a point. So does that review, are people reviewing it to boost it now? I mean, how come that's okay? but the critical score keeps dropping. This is not fine. But, saying that fans backtrack, Star Wars fans are ridiculous. This one, open letter to Star Wars fandom. This is always the other go-to they use. They're talking about, well, you're allowed to not like it. And you can't like everything. And I get that. But what we can do, though, is have some respect for the time and effort that goes into these projects, regardless of content. Basically, you should respect that they did this. You should like it anyway. You should not be so mean to it because people worked hard. Just because you worked hard doesn't mean it's not shit. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of hearing that, well, someone worked hard on it. I am sure they did. And I am sure some people are given some really crappy things to work with. And, there's actors who are doing their best with what they're given. And there are people that are on the set. They're doing the best with what they're given. And costumers and everything else, doing the best with what they're given. The point is, it shouldn't have been greenlit. It should have been greenlit in the first place because what they were given was crap. So you're not supposed to just like it. Because if you go and like it and give it praise when it's crap, then Disney and Star Wars and Headland and Kathleen Kennedy and all those people are going to be like, oh, it's a win. We'll give you more of this. If you go to McDonald's and order a burger and they give you an undercooked crap burger, or they give you, fish instead, or they give you, a taco, you're going to be like, what the hell is this? Well, someone worked really hard to make it, so you better like it. That burger's undercooked, not cooked, we give you a raw patty, and you can get sick from it. But you know what? You better enjoy it, because someone worked really hard to put that together. That logic is bullshit, and I'm really tired of hearing it. It's like the same talking points over and over and over. The people who make these shows and films are just like you and me, going to work each day to earn a living. They do the best they can. So you better support it because they're trying to earn a living. You know what? I'm sorry that you're trying to earn a living and you're working on that shitty show. But it's still not a good show. And this is not helping. They're all like, basically, just support it because people are working hard. No. I work really hard doing these videos, but you're all pissed at me. I don't see you telling people, you're going to tell your friends to support watching my videos because I work hard. Neon works hard. No, you're going to be like, you're just a bunch of grifters and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the same arguments. I'm tired of the same bullshit. I'm tired of the double standards. These are the articles. No one hates Star Wars like Star Wars fans. The Acolytes have Star Wars fans complaining online about one thing. It literally happens in all the franchises. This open letter to Star Wars fandom. Why every angry man saying the same thing about Star Wars? Why do Star Wars fans dislike the Acolytes so much? Star Wars fans abandon ship as Disney Plus brings on the lesbian space witches. Why are Star Wars fans so upset with Disney's new series, The Acolyte? Anti-woke Star Wars fans are being weird about The Acolyte. The Acolyte, Amandela Stenberg, that's such a weird name, sorry. Stenberg made a song about racist Star Wars fans. Amandela Stenberg calls out racism in Star Wars. Well, maybe spend more time working on your acting, I guess. It goes on and on and on. It's just ridiculous. Get a new line. If this isn't okay, neither's all this shit. If this is divisive, so is this shit. So pot or kettle, take your ownership of your own shit. Your shit smells too, and call it a day. Get bent. Anyway, please like and subscribe. We'll talk to you later. Bye.